What a beautiful place this is. It's like a marvelous surprise at the end of a wooded driveway. But no matter how beautiful this is, the building and the grounds are simply a reflection of the wonderful legacy we have as being God's people. Come with me. I'd like to show you around.
Garden, called the Eternal Garden, as you can see on this stone here, is a reminder of the kind of connection, the eternal connection that we have with God as a community and as individuals. And this is a place where we scatter the ashes of members of the congregation and others who've died. And it's a beautiful place. Like right now, this particular time seems to be the yellow season. And the forsythias have been yellow, they're turning to green. There's another month when everything is blue, another time when everything is purple. It's a beautiful place to just sit and reflect. It's also a wonderful place to remember those who've gone before us, who've died, and whose ashes are here. And it's just a wonderful reminder of the sense of community that we have that spans not just a lot of space, but spans time as well. Reaches back into our history of people long before us, whose names we know from the Bible, and also people that we haven't met yet because they're far into the future. And part of our legacy is to share who we are so that people in the future will also be able to benefit from who we are today. This is a beautiful building. As far as I know, it's unique. I've never seen a sanctuary quite like this. It's supported by the four pillars in the corners and then the beams that go all the way across. It was built by Swedish immigrants who had first moved to Lowell and then 50 years ago moved here to Chelmsford, and sharing the heritage of who we are as Swedes and as Lutherans. I think I'm the first pastor here who doesn't have a Swedish background or a Swedish last name. Probably the most important heritage we have as people of God is the way we worship. Our worship forms and the God we worship is found in the old, what we call the Old Testament or the Hebrew Scriptures, going back thousands of years. And sometimes we can think of ourselves as Lutherans or as Christians, and that narrows the focus of who we are as God's people. The first promise of God to his people came to Abraham, and the idea was that all the nations of the world would be blessed through Abraham and his descendants. And we are those descendants as well today. And we worship God as has been revealed to us in a new way in Jesus Christ. And we share that good news of what God has been doing in the world for 4,000 years in sharing God's grace and sharing God's love. And when we share that, we show that we are a part of God's people. I find that one of the difficulties in our own time is the way in which extremists from various religions, even including the Christian faith, share their message of extremism, of hatred and of violence in such a way that it gives all of us, all people of faith, a bad name. The cross of Jesus Christ is certainly a symbol of torture and of violence and of oppression. It's also a symbol of how God has overcome that with his love. And there's lots of oppression, there's a lot of hatred and violence in our own world today, often which is perpetrated in the name of religion, whether it be Christian faith or Jewish faith or Muslim faith or Hindu faith. There's all kinds of violence. And I don't think any of that has to do with the message that God has sent us into the world to proclaim. This is our baptismal font, and this is the symbol of our entrance into God's kingdom. It's interesting that this baptismal font is near the entrance of the church, the main entrance. It's designed that way because our entrance into the Christian faith is through baptism. When we come through the doors, this is intended to be a reminder. And we continue to be God's people, sharing God's heritage, sharing God's love and God's grace with people. And I'm reminded of a song that was very meaningful to me at a recent conference. And one of the lines goes, "The angels were not sent into our world of pain to do what we were meant to do in Jesus' name." And that's who we are. We are God's people sent into the world. It's sometimes like thinking we are the people that we're waiting for because we want God to do something wonderful in our world. And God is doing something wonderful in our world. That's why he sent us. So that we can do what we're meant to do in Jesus' name. Part of our heritage as Christians and as Lutherans is to sing. And part of our ancestry includes Johann Sebastian Bach, who was not very well liked in his own day. The city council who had hired him to be a librarian and also to play the organ at the local church regarded him as not a very good musician, and certainly not as a very good librarian. But we remember his work today because we sing his songs, and his music is often in preludes and postludes, and it's just a reminder that a lot of times we're not appreciated in our own day, but we have a much larger heritage which spans decades and centuries, certainly many times even beyond our own lifetimes.